Hello and welcome back to Kim Reads as we continue with Kirsten Saves today. Chapter 3, Bears. The next morning, Kirsten stayed in the barn after she and Aunt New York finished milking the cows. As soon as she was alone, Kirsten searched for Papa's bee veal. She knew she needed to wear it over her head to protect herself from bee stings. She found the veal on a shelf with some maple syrup buckets. She thought a syrup bucket would be good for carrying honey, so she took one. She took Aunt Inger's dipper, too. The only thing she knew is that she needed was smoke to make the bees drowsy and slow. She remembered that Papa had lit a torch near his hive back in Sweden. She decided she could burn a piece of pine wood for a torch. She would ask Peter to hold it. Kirsten hid her supplies behind the barn and went to find Peter. He was down at the stream getting water for Mama. "Peter, you've got to help me," Kirsten called. "Help you do what?" he said. "Help me get the honey from the bee tree. I got everything we need to do today." Peter waded out of the stream with a full bucket. "Did Papa say we could?" "I didn't ask Papa. I want it to be a surprise. I want to surprise everyone. Think of what Mom will say when we bring home a whole bucket full of honey." "I'm thinking of what Papa will say if we get caught." Papa will say if we get hurt," Peter said. "We won't get hurt. I just know what to do, and if you help me, I will give you some of the honey for your very own. But I bet we could stop at Mr. Burkhoff's store and get what little knife you saw there. Then you could whittle like Lars does." "I'd like that little knife," Peter said slowly, but he still looked worried. "Take the water to Mama, then meet me behind the barn," Kirsten said. "Don't want anyone to see you." She ran off before he had a chance to argue. After what seemed like a long time, Peter came to where Kirsten waited. She took his hand and squeezed it. "Good for you, Peter," she said. "I knew you'd be brave enough to come with me. Here, take the dipper." Right behind Peter came Caro. The pup jumped between Kirsten's legs. "Go home, Caro," Kirsten whispered. "Shoo," but Caro wanted to go home. He licked Kirsten's hands and barked with excitement as if he were on a secret. "He wants to come with us. Can he help too?" Peter asked. "Well, I suppose he could stand guard for us. If bears came near the bee tree, Caro can't chase them away." Kirsten said. "Bears?" asked Peter. "I mean, there are bears in the woods and bears like honey, that's all," Kirsten said quickly. "There's nothing to be scared about. Let's go." Kirsten led the way to the forest. She and Peter and the pup climbed the steep hill and then went down the other side. Soon they could hear the sound of the bee tree. "Listen to that hum, Peter. We're almost there," Kirsten said. When Peter saw the bee tree and heard its loud hum, the eyes went wide. "I didn't know there were so many bees in the world," he said. Caro dashed down the clearing. He sniffed the garb, but being stung had taught him not to go anywhere near bees. Kirsten set the bucket by her feet and picked up a pine wood stick for a torch. You'll hold the torch right by the hive to keep the bees quiet while I dip out the honey," she told Peter. "But first I have to put it on the bee veal." Can I get on the veal with you?" he asked in a small voice. "You can stand on the veal if you keep one hand out to hold the torch. Roll down your shirt and sleeves, Peter." As Peter started to roll down his sleeve, Caro began to bark fiercely. Nearby, twigs cracked as something moved in the bushes. Caro ran toward the noise, yipping. Then the bear cub tumbled out of the thicket, with Caro right behind. "Oh no!" Kirsten cried. She dropped the BB on alarm. She hoped the cub was alone again. She hoped its mother wasn't near, because if a mother bear saw Caro chasing her cub, there would be trouble. The bear would think her cub was in danger and come after them all. Kirsten shook her head and called to Caro. "Caro, stop it! Stop! Leave the cub alone!" Caro turned the face of the cub and bared his teeth. The cub growled back. Caro snapped, and the cub showed its sharp teeth. They were going to fight. "We've got to get Caro, Peter," Kirsten said. Quick. "Come, Carol," Peter yelled. He picked up a stone and threw it in the cup. "And you, bear, scat." Just then a deep growl echoed through the forest. Something huge broke from the shadows. The mother bear rushed toward to protect her cub. She lumbered swiftly forward, her head swinging. She snorted at Carol and then flipped the pup away from her cub with a swipe of her shaggy paw. Carol yelped in pain as he landed in a pile of leaves. There he was on his feet, striking back home the way they'd come. The bear turned to lick her cub, and Kirsten realized she and Peter had gone this one chance to get away. She grabbed Peter's hand. "Quick, climb the tree." They raced to the far side of the clearing. Kirsten made a step for Peter with her clasping hands. He jumped into it and stretched for the lowest branch of a big oak. He caught it, and Kirsten boosted him until he got a good grip. Peter dangled a moment. She shoved, and he threw his leg over and scrambled on a big branch. "Climb fast," Kirsten said. "Don't stop." "You come too," Peter said. "Here's my hand." She grasped his hand and the branch and struggled up after him. Bits of bark showered at her face as they climbed higher up the tree. The mother bear nuzzled her cub, and she stopped in front of it and looked around the clearing again. Kirsten's ears hummed like the bees in the bee tree. Kirsten knew black bears climb trees easily. This one could come right up after them. Again and again, the mother bear shook her head, growling and snoring. Then she charged toward the tree, her paws slapping around like drum beats. She stopped about 10 feet away and peered on the branches where Kirsten and Peter hung on. "Dear God, please make the bear go away," Peter prayed. His eyes were closed, but Kirsten couldn't take her gaze off the bear. She could see the sharp teeth and long claws. It was so smooth she could smell the musty stink of its fur. If the bear came up the tree, she and Peter wouldn't have a chance. Slowly watching the tree, the mother bear stood up on her hind legs. Her thick fur hung like a black robe as she sniffed the air. And she lowered herself down on all fours again and began to back toward her cub. When she reached the cub, the bear gave it a swat, as if to say, "Mind your mother." The cub scuffled into the woods, and its heavy followed, looking back over its shoulder. The branches hung behind them, and they were gone. Kirsten let her breath out very, very slowly. "Peter? Are we still alive?" he whispered. "The bear went away," Kirsten said. "Open your eyes." Peter squinted two thin slits of blue. "Will it come back?" "I don't know," Kirsten said. She got a better grip on the branch she held. "I'm afraid to climb down," Peter said. "Me too." Kirsten tried to swallow, but her mouth was dry. "Oh, Kirsten, the bear hurt Carol." "Carol could still run. He'll be all right. Don't cry," Kirsten said, but she felt tears on her own cheeks. She bit her lips and looked down at the claw marks on the dirt below them at the deep scratches around the tree. Well, the bear came back. "Oh, why did she decide to come here with no one but Peter? Why did she think she could get the honey herself? Why hadn't she been more careful?" Kirsten and Peter were still clutching the highest tree of the oak branch they climbed when they heard someone shout in the distance. "Kirsten, Peter, where are you?" "It's Papa," Peter cried. "Here," Kirsten called back to him. "We're here, Papa." She remembered the whistle she wore around her neck and blew 3 short blasts. Papa called again. His voice was closer now. And he strode in the clearing carrying his big rifle. Peter began to skid and slid down the tree to him, but Kirsten stayed back. "Watch out, Papa," she cried. "A bear chased us. It might be close by." She walked down through the leaves at Papa's red face. Papa set his rifle against a tree. "I've got my gun, but no bear would come near this noise. They could want to keep away from us as much as we do from them. You two come down here." Peter jumped from the lowest branch of Papa's arms, but Kirsten was almost afraid as she had been of the bear. Papa sounded very angry. "Are you all right?" he asked Peter. Peter nodded. "Kirsten, are you all right?" "Yes, Papa," she said. "How'd you find us?" Peter said. He held on to Papa's neck. The pup came with his leg bleeding, Papa said. It looked like a bear had clawed him. I knew he liked to tag along with you, and I was afraid you'd meet up with bears. So I grabbed my gun and followed the trail of blood through the woods, and I heard the shouts and the whistle. Excuse me. He set Peter on the ground and held his arms out to Kirsten. She jumped down. Her face was hot. Papa set her on the ground and took her shoulder with a strong grip. Tell me what you're doing here, he said sternly. When Papa was angry, his eyes seemed to burn like fire in the cook stove. Kirsten kept her gaze on her dusty feet. I found the bee tree, Papa, she said. He glanced at it for the first time. Well, that's a good find. Go on. It's full of honey, Kirsten said. Peter and I wanted to get the honey for you. We thought we could sell it at the store. She tried to smile, but her lips felt numb. And you went to get it by yourselves? Papa asked. Kirsten said she knew what to do and that we should surprise you, Peter said. You agreed, Peter. You said yes, Kirsten hissed. Then Carol chased a cub and the bear came. Papa hurried on. Papa stroked his beard. There were deep furrows in his brow, like the one plow was made in the field. Did you know bears came to the bee tree, Kirsten? I saw a bear once, but only a baby, she muttered. But you know mother bears are always near the cubs to protect them. You did a very, very foolish thing. You put your life in Peter's and Jage's. You've got to be more careful in the woods, Papa's voice boomed. Peter pushed between Papa and Kirsten, but Kirsten saved my life. When the big bear came, she helped me up the tree so I'd be safe. She was very brave. Papa took Peter's hand and Kirsten. Listen to me. It isn't brave to go near bears. It's dangerous. The only way to be safe from bears is to stay away from them and never ever go near cubs. Do you hear me? I'm sorry, Papa. Kirsten could hardly hear her own voice. We thought you'd be happy about the bee tree, Peter whispered. We thought if we brought you the honey, you'd be able to get all the things you need at Mr. Burkhoff's store, Kirsten added. The honey in this tree will be valuable, I'm sure of that, Papa said, but the bees aren't even better to find. Papa looked stern. If you had broken into the hive with that dipper, you would have destroyed the colony of bees. You would have ruined the honey, too. And what's much worse, you would have been badly stung. Kirsten, you're 10 years old. You're old enough to take care of yourself and your little brother. You're old enough to know better. Kirsten was ashamed. Because of her recklessness, she put Peter in danger. The pup had been clawed. Mom and Papa were frightened and upset. She almost destroyed the treasure she found. She couldn't keep the tears from rolling down her cheeks. Oh, Papa, I'm sorry. Truly I am. Papa leaped down and looked in her eyes. I can see I don't need to paddle you. You've been punished enough. Come home now. He picked up the bee veil and then the syrup bucket and then his rifle. I'll come back tomorrow and take the honey and the bees to the farm. And that's the end of that chapter. See you later.